few details about another type of blood corpuscle, that is white blood corpuscle or WBCs. These are also called as leukocytes. That's because in the settled condition, they form a mass which is white in color. RBCs will form one sediment that will be red in color, WBCs will be white in color, and above that would be the plasma. And because they appear to be white in color in that mass, these are called as white blood cells or leukocytes. Leuco means white and cyte means a cell. So these are white blood corpuscles or white blood cells. Now, as compared to red blood corpuscles, which as we discussed earlier, they appear to be very large in number, almost 40 to 70 lakhs per cubic millimeter of blood. WBCs, against that, they appear to be much smaller in number, hardly some 4,000 to 7,000 per cubic millimeter of blood. Rather, it has been found out that one WBC against almost 400 RBCs. That's the ratio, that's the proportion. Another difference that can be predominantly pointed out here is the shape of the cell. WBCs are not with a fixed shape. The shape is variable, or you can call these to be almost amoeboid in shape. Much larger in size and irregularly shaped. These cells, they have a vital role in the immune system. Defense from the microbes, from the invaders, from the foreign bodies, and all of them, the body is defended from them with the help of leukocytes majorly. Now these leukocytes, which as I said are more or less amoeboid in shape, they are differentiable into various types, and these types are mainly made on the basis of presence or absence of granules in the cytoplasm. That is, one type is granulocytes, that is cells or WBCs with granules, and agranulocytes are the WBCs without granules in the cytoplasm. The granulocytes can further be divided into three types. Now this distinction is on the basis of their staining properties. Rather, let us say that this distinction is on the basis of the staining properties of the granules contained in them. And these three types are eosinophils, basophils, and neutrophils. Eosinophil is name of an acidic stain. So the cells which can be stained with an acidic stain are eosinophils or acidophils. Those which are stained with basic stain or alkaline stain, they are called as basophils, and those which are stained with neutral dyes or neutral stains are called as neutrophils. These are three types of granulocytes. Now there's another differentiation. These cells also differ in the structure, in the morphology of their nuclei. These are generally described as polymorphonuclear cells. That is, their nuclear morphology is variable. Eosinophils are cells with bilobed nuclei and large-sized granules. Basophils are with elongated nuclei, which sometimes may appear to be comparable to bilobed, and there are large granules. While neutrophils are cells with multi-lobed nuclei and a large number of granules. While agranulocytes, these are cells with clear non-granular cytoplasm. There are two subtypes, lymphocytes, which are relatively smaller cells, each one with a large nucleus and clear non-granular cytoplasm. Monocytes are largest of the WBCs each with a more or less kidney-shaped nucleus and a clear non-granular cytoplasm. These are 5 subtypes of leukocytes. Now let's come to understand each cell, its functional details. These are the 5 different cells that I just talked about. This is the eosinophil, this is the neutrophil, this is the basophil, so lymphocyte and monocyte. These are the 5 types of cells. These 3 would be granulocytes and these 2 would be agranulocytes. Now, eosinophil, which is a large cell measuring to about 10 to 12 microns in diameter, and 100 WBCs if we count, these will be hardly about 2 to 3%. That is 2 to 3% of WBCs are this type. It's a defense mechanism against parasites, and at times an allergic response can increase the number of eosinophils. That is a common finding is if person is suffering with common cold, the number of eosinophils is found to be a little larger. So this indicates an allergic state, in fact, hypersensitivity. The other type that we talk about is basophil. This is the basophil, wherein, as I said, the nucleus is elongated and sometimes may be twisted in the center. These are very small in number, hardly some 0 to 1% of WBCs at this type. And its prime function is secretion of histamine, again a chemical related to allergic response. And the third type is neutrophil, as I said, the multi-lobe nucleus, a large number of granules. These are the largest in number, about 60-65% of WBCs will be this type. The diameter is about 10 to 12 microns, and they can engulf and destroy bacteria and fungi. Now, all the 3 types of cells, all the 3 types of granulocytes, their lifespan is from a few hours to a few days. That means maybe depending upon the presence of pathogens, the lifespan would differ. But otherwise, broadly, their lifespan is found to be somewhere around a few hours to a few days. Then we talk about the agranulocytes, lymphocytes and monocytes. In fact, lymphocytes, there will be 2 types of them. Some are smaller, the diameter would be somewhere around 7 to 8 microns, and some would be structurally similar but larger in size. These would be the lymphocytes, wherein the diameter is about 12 to 15 microns. Now, these are again large in number, about 30% of WBCs will be this type, and it's an important component of immune system. In fact, there are different subtypes of lymphocytes. T cells, B cells, that is T lymphocytes, B lymphocytes, memory cells, and suppressor cells. The T lymphocytes, that is lymphocytes which are activated in the thymus gland. These are called as T lymphocytes. T stands for thymus. Thymus activated lymphocytes, they could be killer cells or they could be helper cells. That means they could be phagocytic in function, or they could be responsible for activating the response from all over the body. So they could be killer cells or they could be helper cells. What T lymphocytes show is cell-mediated immunity, while B lymphocytes are basically responsible for release of antibodies. That is, it's called as humoral immunity. And B lymphocytes show humoral immunity, that is immunity with the help of antibodies. Memory cells are those which retain the memory of that particular pathogen. Now, when I say memory, I am talking about the binding sites of the pathogen, the active sites of the pathogen. So, the resistance of our body to a particular pathogen is because of the memory cells. While suppressor cells are those which decline the response by lymphocytes once the pathogen is under control. So 4 types of lymphocytes will be seen and 2 types of T lymphocytes will be seen. Then monocytes. Monocytes are broadly phagocytic in function, and these are the largest of WBCs. The diameter is somewhere around 15 to 25 microns. And these can get transformed into other types of phagocytic cells like macrophages of the connective tissues or Kupffer cells in the liver. Now, monocytes also have a similar lifespan as these granulocytes, that is few hours to few days. But about the lymphocytes, memory cells have a lifespan of about a few years, while rest other types of lymphocytes again few hours to few days, you can see. Now, these cells are actually capable of coming out of the blood capillaries, reaching out to the tissues, perform their functions, and if required, get back into the blood capillaries. This ability is called as diapedesis. In the next session, we would discuss about platelets or thrombocytes and their functions.